The ground shook for the third time in an hour. Far below Earth's surface, deeper than any human had ever gone, a drilling team froze in silence. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Dr. Sarah Klein wiped sweat from her forehead. Did anyone hear that? She asked, even though everyone clearly had. The hum. It was low, deep, and almost alive. It wasn't from the machines. It wasn't from the ground. It was coming from below, from the darkness. "Shut everything down," shouted Commander Jace Thorne. His voice echoed across the massive underground tunnel. The drilling crew obeyed, turning off the massive boring drills. The vibrations stopped. The ground became quiet, but the hum, it didn't stop. It grew louder. This wasn't an ordinary mission. The site was top secret, hidden from the world. A signal had been discovered deep underground, one that matched no known human frequency. Scientists believed it was just a glitch, maybe leftover from ancient tech. But now, after digging 200 miles under Earth's crust, they knew it was something else. It was not natural. And it was not human. The tunnel opened into a wide circular chamber. In the center stood something impossible. It looked like a black metal pod, about 9 feet tall, smooth as glass, without any cracks, seams, or markings, yet it pulsed softly, as if breathing. "Get the scanners," Sarah whispered. 2 techs brought scanners close. As soon as the device touched the pod flash, a burst of energy knocked them back. Sparks flew. 1 tech hit the wall and fell unconscious. "Medical," Jace shouted, pulling the second tech away from the strange object. Sarah stared at the scanner. The screen showed nothing, just static. But then words began to form. Slowly, like something was typing through the machine. "Do not touch, he still dreams. One more touch, and I will show you why they fear us." Everyone went silent. I think it's alive," Sarah said, stunned. "Or it holds something, that is." Commander Jace looked around. "I want a secure perimeter. No one touches it again without my command." But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Later that night, when the base lights dimmed and most of the team rested, one young scientist, Dr. Max Reeds, couldn't resist. He walked alone into the chamber, flashlight shaking in his hand. He stared at the black pod. It stared back without eyes. It felt like it was watching. Max reached out slowly, heart pounding. "No one's going to stop me," he whispered. "We need to know the truth." He touched it. Everything changed. The lights flickered. The hum roared. The ground shook with a deep, guttural pulse, as if the earth itself was afraid. The pod lit up with symbols, glowing lines that raced across its surface. It was awakening. Max fell back, gasping. What did I do?" The pod split open with a hiss, dark mist leaking out. From inside, a figure emerged. Humanoid, tall, skin gray-blue, eyes closed, muscles tight, wrapped in strange armor of unknown design. He didn't move. He floated just above the pod floor, suspended in some kind of stasis. Alarms blared across the base. Security rushed in. Jace pointed his weapon. "Don't move." The figure's eyes remained closed. His body hovered gently, as if breathing. Then, a whisper echoed through every speaker in the base. Not a radio message. Not from Earth. But from him. "You have touched. Now see." Suddenly, everyone in the room fell to their knees, clutching their heads. Visions flooded their minds. A city of gold in space, burning. Millions screaming as planets were ripped apart. A tall being walking through fire, untouched. Armies bowing before him, or being erased. They all saw him. The floating figure. Once feared, once followed, now locked away. Until now. Sarah stood up, blood dripping from her nose. "Who are you?" she gasped. The figure slowly opened his eyes. They glowed white, no pupils, no emotion. He spoke. Not with mouth, with thought. "Long ago, they made me fight. Then they feared me. Then they trapped me. But they could never destroy me. Jace stepped forward, weapon still raised. Are you a threat to Earth? The being tilted his head. To Earth? No, unless Earth becomes them. Who? Sarah asked, shaking. Who are they? He looked up, toward the surface, toward the sky. The ones who locked me here. The ones who fear I will rise again. They have watched. They will return. Why? Would they return now? Max asked, barely able to breathe. The being floated forward, eyes dimming. Because you touched me. And now they know I am awake. Above Earth, satellites began to fail. Long-range space observatories picked up strange movements. A cluster of ships, unidentified, massive, were turning toward Earth, moving fast. Across distant alien worlds, alarms sounded in languages humanity couldn't understand. One phrase was repeated across galaxies. He wakes. Back underground, the alien slowly floated back into the pod. I will rest a little longer, but you have broken the seal. You must prepare, Sarah whispered. For what? The alien's final words before the pod sealed again. For them. Or for me, whichever comes first. The pod shut. The hum returned. But it was louder now. Deeper. And it was no longer alone. Above, a message was detected, not from Earth. Not from human tech, but from the dark beyond. Simple. Cold. Final. Containment broken. Subject awake. Terminate planet. The story was no longer about discovery. It had become a countdown. And Earth had just touched something it should have left buried. Darkness moved across space. In the farthest corner of the galaxy, beyond any human map, a machine older than time opened its single eye. It was not a weapon. It was not alive. It was a warning system placed by a long-dead empire. And now it was active. A single word appeared on its rusted screen. AWAKED sent a signal into deep space. A signal that had not been used in 1,000,000 years. A signal that said, he has returned. On a massive world made of floating stone towers and burning skies, a council of alien warlords met in panic. Is the signal true? Asked one with green eyes and steel skin. It is, said another. The Earth species has broken the prison. The silent one now breathes. A third alien, taller than the rest, stared at the stars. Then we must destroy Earth before he remembers who he is. And across space, fleets moved. Back on Earth, deep underground, Dr. Sarah Klein stood outside the black pod. Her hands trembled. He's still inside, she whispered. He went back to sleep. But why? Commander Jace Thorne paced behind her, furious. Because he wants us afraid. No, Sarah said. Because he knows something worse is coming. They both looked at the pod. It hummed louder now. Not violent, not angry, but warning them like a storm siren before a hurricane. Then came the news. Commander. A soldier called from the comm station. You need to see this. Jace rushed into the room. Dozens of screens showed movement across space. Earth's early warning satellites had caught it. Massive ships, alien, incoming fast. They weren't broadcasting messages. They weren't answering hails. They were flying in a straight line toward Earth. Show me the fleet, Jace ordered. A screen zoomed in. The image was fuzzy, but clear enough. Hundreds of black spiked ships. Each one the size of a city. A silence filled the room. Then someone whispered, "That's not an invasion. That's an execution." In the pod chamber, the alien being opened his eyes again. He spoke into their minds, calm but cold. "They come because they fear I will become what I once was." Sarah stood in front of him. "What were you?" "Their creation. Their destroyer, their mistake." Jay stepped forward. "Can you stop them?" The being floated upward slightly. The pod beneath him cracked with heat. "If I must." The first wave arrived in hours. 12 alien ships broke into the solar system. Their engines glowed with blue light. Weapons already hot. Earth's defense grid activated. Satellites armed. Lasers charged. Missile silos prepared. On board the alien ship, a general spoke in a deep language not made for human ears. We burn the world before he remembers. The attack began without warning. 3 satellites were destroyed in seconds. Earth's orbit turned into a battlefield. Human pilots screamed as alien weapons tore through ships like paper. But then, he stepped out. The alien being, once asleep for millions of years, floated out of the underground base without a ship, without armor, just himself. How he flew into the sky, no one understood. Gravity bent around him. Cameras followed as he rose higher, faster, and then disappeared into space. Moments later, he appeared alone before the alien fleet. He raised one hand, and every alien ship stopped moving. Inside the alien ships, panic began. Why does he not speak? Why does he not attack? Why can't we move? Then the being whispered one word across all frequencies. Enough. The lid ship cracked in half. No beam, no fire, just broken. As if reality itself gave up holding it together. 5 more ships exploded. The last 6 turned and tried to escape. The being let them go. Back on Earth, news spread fast. Civilians saw it live. One being who fought a dozen warships with nothing but a word. People began to ask, who is he? What is he? Sarah had only one answer. He's not a god. He's not an alien. He's a warning. The alien returned to the base silently. As he stepped back into the chamber, Sarah met him alone. You didn't kill them all, she said. Not yet. Why not? He looked at her. For the first time, emotion entered his voice. Because I don't want to become what they fear. Not again. She asked softly, what did they do to you? They made me ... to win a war. But when I won, I didn't stop. Far across space, on the council world, the alien leaders screamed. At each other. You said he was locked forever. You said Earth was safe. You said he couldn't return. The tall warlord, the one with silver skin, looked into the fire sky and said, we must send the second fleet. And the executioner, Earth scientists worked day and night. They studied the pod, his energy, his biology. Nothing made sense. His DNA was like a map of the universe. His mind was unreadable. One thing was clear. He wasn't just powerful. He was something the galaxy wanted to forget. And now, the galaxy remembered. One night, Sarah found him sitting near the crater where the pod first opened. She sat beside him. You remember more now, don't you? Yes. Do you regret waking up? He was silent for a long time. I regret letting them forget what I am. Sarah looked at the stars. They're coming, aren't they? They're already here. Above Earth, space warped again. This time, it wasn't ships. It was something bigger, a structure. A moving moon. A battle station the size of Australia. The executioner, the being stood, looking at the sky. This time, they're not here to stop me. They're here to erase the planet. Sarah stood with him. Then why don't you destroy them? He looked at her again, softer now. Because one day, your kind may fear me too. Inside the alien superweapon, the executioner general prepared. The final weapon. A world-splitting beam. One shot, one purpose. Charge the planet breaker, burn Earth to ashes. But as the weapon charged, he appeared inside the ship. No ship. No sound, just their guards fired. Nothing touched him. He raised a hand and said, you came to stop a monster. He pointed at the weapon core. But you brought one instead. The executioner exploded, on Earth. The skies glowed red as debris rained down. But Earth was safe. The being returned once more. But this time, something had changed. His body flickered. His power surged uncontrolled. Sarah met him, scared. What's happening? They pushed too far. Now, I remember everything. He looked at her one final time. Tell your people, if I fall, Earth falls with me, but if I rise. The ground shook under his feet. His voice thundered through every mind on Earth. Nothing survives me. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Above Earth's orbit, defense satellites blinked red one by one. One moment they were working. The next dead. In Earth's command center, General Riker stood over the main screen. His jaw was tight, his voice colder than steel. Give me a full scan. I want eyes on every inch of the sky. A young officer shouted, Sir, contact multiple alien ships. They're not hiding anymore. The screen zoomed in. A fleet, dozens, maybe hundreds. Coming fast. Inside Earth's global defense network, panic grew. This is not a scouting party, said Commander Jace Thorne. This is a purge. Dr. Sarah Klein stood beside him. She had seen what was coming. She had spoken with the one they awakened. And now she feared this was just the beginning. They want to erase us, she whispered. A deep voice echoed behind her. Not you, me. Everyone turned. The alien being, still unnamed, still unknown, stood silently in the doorway. His eyes glowed faint white. His presence made the walls hum. General Riker raised his head. Then help us stop them. The being looked toward the sky. I already warned you. They're not here to fight. They're here to erase. In orbit, the alien fleet formed a wide circle around Earth. They didn't speak. They didn't ask questions. They only prepared to fire. Inside the largest ship, the alien commander stood on a tall metal platform. His armor was dark red. His skin was bone white, eyes glowing orange. He lifted a staff made from the bones of a long-dead god. Fire the purge beam, he ordered. Let Earth become ash. On Earth, alarms screamed. Massive beams of energy shot toward the planet from space. Global defense cannons activated. Lasers lit the sky. Missiles roared upward. Earth was fighting back. But it wasn't enough. One of the beams cut through a mountain in seconds. Cities in Europe went dark. Satellites fell like burning stars. Panic spread. People ran. Sirens echoed through every country. Inside the base, Sarah turned to the alien. Do something, please. He remained still. They must know why they should fear me. She grabbed his arm. We will die. His voice changed cold, deep, filled with echo. Then let them see what they woke up. He disappeared in a blink. Moments later, in space, something strange happened. The alien fleet system started to fail. Engines froze. Targeting went blind. Shields collapsed. And then he appeared, floating above Earth. No ship, no armor. Just him. He raised one hand and pointed. The lead alien ship cracked in half without a sound. The second ship melted from the inside. The third turned and tried to escape. The rest began to fire everything. They had plasma beams, missiles, dark energy cannons. None of it touched him. He flew through the blasts like smoke through light. And with each wave of his hand, another ship was erased. Not exploded. Not broken. Erased from existence. Back in the command center, silence. Soldiers and officers watched the screens in awe. The alien, this ancient being, was winning a war alone. Sarah whispered. How is this possible? Jace didn't answer. He couldn't, because even though Earth was winning, it no longer felt like victory. In the last remaining enemy ship, the alien commander screamed, Activate the memory lock. A device was thrown into space, small, silent, ancient. It recorded everything, then sent a signal into deep space. He lives. Earth is infected. Burn it all. Back on Earth, the alien being returned to the underground base. His skin glowed with strange marks, moving symbols of a language that wasn't human. Symbols that had awakened again after ages. Sarah stepped forward. You saved us. No, I delayed them. Jace frowned. Then what's next? The being looked upward. Now, they send the Titans. Far across the stars, in a hidden part of the galaxy, something opened. A gate, a rip in space. From it came a shadow, a machine. A living planet-sized war beast, once used to kill entire solar systems. It was called the final will. It had not moved in 500,000 years. Now, it flew toward Earth. 3 days passed. Earth tried to recover. Cities were rebuilt. People returned to their homes. But fear lingered. The skies were watched every second. The alien being didn't sleep, didn't speak much. He stood on a mountain in Asia, watching the stars like a hawk. Sarah came to him again. They're coming, aren't they? Yes. Why? You didn't do anything wrong. He shook his head. They don't care about right or wrong, only control. I broke it. And now they will burn the world to chain me again. The world governments gathered. They offered the alien being weapons, ships, armies. He refused. I don't need weapons. I was built to be one. But the people needed hope. So Sarah gave him a name. She stood before the world's leaders and said, "We call him Neros, the one who watches the stars, the one they fear." The name spread, from whispers to headlines. The world now had a protector. But in deep space, the true enemy drew closer. The final will spoke in a voice that sounded like dying stars. "I smell the traitor. Prepare the purge." In the silence of night, Sarah had one last question. If you're strong enough to stop them, why not destroy them forever? Neros looked at the moon. Because every time I become a monster, I lose something human. She stared at him. But you're not human. He looked at her and smiled for the first time. Not yet. But as dawn rose, the skies darkened again. A strange storm formed above the Pacific. Clouds spun unnaturally. Lightning struck the ocean. And from the sky, a single object fell. It hit the sea, and the water turned black around it. Satellites caught a glimpse. A face, metal, gigantic, with red eyes. The Titan had arrived, and behind it, more. General Riker stared at the feed. "This isn't a war anymore." "No," said Jace. "This is a judgment." Sarah whispered, "And only one being can stop it." She looked at N.Y. Ross. He looked at the sky, and without a word, he flew up again. The final battle was not days away. It was hours away, and Earth was not ready. But Nero's was. The wind stopped. All around the Pacific, the ocean fell silent. Waves froze. Birds disappeared. The clouds above the water turned black and twisted like they were afraid of what was coming. A red glow spread across the sky. Then, the sea boiled. Something was rising. From the command center in Alaska, General Riker stood in front of a massive screen. His voice was calm, but his eyes were filled with fear. "Zoom in. What are we looking at?" The screen showed a giant figure pushing up from beneath the ocean. A face made of black metal and ancient stone appeared. 2 red eyes opened. They didn't glow. They burned. Dr. Sarah Klein whispered, "That's not a ship." Commander Jace Thorne's mouth went dry. "That's not even alive." The computer spoke aloud. "Object detected. Class Titan. Origin unknown. Purpose eradication. Warning: this unit has destroyed 9 planets. Cody name Final Will." Far above in Earth's orbit, Neros floated quietly. His white eyes watched the clouds below him spin and twist. He had no armor, no ship, no army. But the Titan didn't care. It was not here to fight. It was here to cleanse. From its chest opened a port, and inside was a weapon so massive it could split the moon in half. The Titan aimed it at Earth. Inside Earth's command center, panic exploded. "They're going to wipe us. We have nothing that can stop that. We need Neros." But Sarah didn't say anything. She was already running toward the mountain. At the top of Mount Shenzhou, Nero stood alone. His body shimmered with strange light. Symbols moved across his skin like living tattoos. He looked tired, but not weak. Quiet, but not afraid. Sarah arrived by helicopter. shouting over the wind. "You have to stop it. You have to move now." Nairos didn't even blink. "If I move first, I show fear." Titans feed on fear. Sarah stepped forward. "Then what are you waiting for?" Nairos looked up. "For them to tremble." Back in the ocean, the Titan's voice shook the sky. "Traitor located. Purge begins." The weapon on its chest fired. A beam of red and black light shot toward the surface of the Earth Strait, toward Tokyo. Nairos moved in one blink. He was gone in the next. He stood in front of the beam, holding it with his bare hands. Time slowed. Light bent around him. The ground shook for miles. The oceans rose. Clouds were pulled into the sky, but Nairos didn't move. He held the death beam still. And then he crushed it. A shockwave spread across the ocean. The Titan screamed, not in pain, but in confusion. No one had ever stopped its purge beam before. No one had even survived it until now. Nairos flew upward, not fast. Not in rage. He moved like he belonged in the sky. The Titan fired missiles, sonic blasts, gravity bombs. Nairos waved one hand. Everything stopped. He stepped forward through frozen time and touched the Titan's head. "I remember you," he whispered. "You were made to destroy my kind." Then he raised his hand to the stars. In deep space, across the galaxy, watchers felt it, a pull, a scream in silence. Something old had returned. The stars trembled. Back on Earth, every human with a screen watched live as Nairos lifted the Titan into the sky. The sea fell back like a reverse tsunami. Clouds were torn in half. And then he threw it. He threw the Titan into space like a broken toy on the moon. The Titan crashed. It didn't break. It stood up. Inside the moon's dark side, 4 more red lights opened. Sarah saw the satellite feed. Her heart stopped. "There are more. General Riker shouted. "How many Titans are there?" Nairos floated alone between Earth and the moon. He stared at the broken, standing Titan. And then the other 4 stepped out. 5 Titans. 1 Nairos. The Titans spoke together, voices like thunder. "Nairos, we were created to end you. You will fall." Nairos took a breath. "Maybe, but I won't fall alone." He turned toward Earth and whispered into Sarah's mind. "Tell them to prepare. This is no longer about Earth. This is a war for the galaxy." In deep space, alien empires received the message. Titans deployed. Nairos awake. Destination, Earth. Some ran, some prepared fleets, but all were afraid. On Earth, people prayed, some hid, some cheered, some just stared at the skies. But one child, watching from a small village, drew a picture. It showed Nairos standing between Earth and 5 monsters. At the top, she wrote, "Our star guardian." Back on the moon, the Titans circled Nairos. They moved slowly, without fear. They didn't need to rush. They had all the power of galaxies inside them. But Nairos closed his eyes, and something changed. His body glowed brighter. His voice deeper. "You fear what I was. Now fear what I've become." The stars above them dimmed. Nairos raised both hands. His body spun once. A blast of pure light exploded outward, not light from the sun, but light from inside time itself. First Titan cracked. The second stumbled. The others held back. One shouted, "He's ascending." Sarah watched the screen as sensors screamed. "What's happening to him?" Jace answered quietly. "He's not just fighting. He's unlocking something." Nairos remembered everything. The war he ended. The gods he killed. The empire that built him. The betrayal that locked him beneath Earth. And now he remembered the one thing they tried to erase. His final form. Nairos floated in the middle of the Titans. His body no longer looked like flesh. He looked like a star. A being made of energy and memory and fury. The Titans paused. For the first time in 500,000 years. They stepped back, but Nairos stepped forward. One chance. Leave or face me." The Titans replied together, "We do not run, then you fall." The moon shook. The battle began. And the stars trembled. The battle above the moon raged. Energy blasts tore through the black sky. Titans and Nyros clashed like gods made of stars. But far away, in a hidden place beyond known space, a secret was about to be revealed. One that would shake the galaxy to its core, on a planet surrounded by thick storms. Inside a fortress of black stone and shining metal, the Galactic Council gathered. The council was made of the oldest and most powerful alien leaders. They ruled over many species and worlds. But today, they were afraid. A hologram flickered in the center of the room. It showed Nyros and the Titans locked in battle. One council member, a tall alien with sharp horns and blue skin, slammed a fist. "Down! How did this happen? We locked him away. We erased all records." Another, with pale white scales and golden eyes, hissed, "Our weapons failed. Our spies failed." The Titans woke again. The council leader stood slowly. His voice was cold and heavy. "It is time to tell the truth. The truth we hid for centuries." The council chamber fell silent. A giant door opened behind the leader, revealing an ancient archive room. Walls filled with glowing data crystals. He gestured, and a crystal floated to the center. "This," he said, "is the record of the First War, the war no one speaks of." Sarah Klein, now aboard Earth's command ship, watched the council's signal broadcasted secretly by human spies. She listened closely as the leader spoke. Nyros was not born. He was made. The crystal glowed, and images appeared. Planets burned, cities shattered. Stars exploded. Aliens fought aliens in endless war. And in the middle of it all, a machine, a giant war machine built to end the war. We built him from the bones of gods. We gave him the power of stars. But we lost control. Images showed Nyros fighting against armies of gods, tearing apart entire fleets. The council leader's voice lowered. He became the destroyer. The betrayer. Sarah's heart pounded. "This is why they locked him away?" she whispered. "Yes," the leader answered. "Because Nyros did not just fight our enemies, he fought us." The council showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked many planets destroyed during the First War. Blue dots marked the homes of the council species, and a single black dot marked Earth. Earth was our prison, the leader said. A place to hide Nyros where no one would find him. Sarah felt a chill. "He was never meant to protect Earth," she said. "He was meant to be a weapon." The leader nodded, "But we underestimated one thing." Another crystal floated. Forward. It showed Nyros' eyes closed, calm deep underground, dreaming. Nyros was a god, yes, but gods can change. We hoped Earth's weak species would remind him what it means to be more than a weapon. Jace Thorne, standing beside. Sarah frowned. "So the council sent Nyros here to tame him?" The leader nodded. Double quotes, "Yes, but something went wrong." The images changed. They showed the council sending a special signal, one of their greatest secrets. A signal that would put Nyros into stasis, a prison inside a prison. But something else was in the signal. The leader said, voice dark, "The signal awoke something else." Images showed a shadow moving behind Nyros, something old, something darker. Sarah turned to Jace. "What did they wake?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "The truth." Meanwhile, deep inside the council's secret vaults, a hidden chamber opened. A creature lay sleeping on a stone slab. It was like nothing Sarah had seen before. Tall, dark, covered in strange armor. Eyes closed. A voice echoed in the chamber. "The time is coming." The creature's eyes opened. White, empty, endless. Back on Earth, Nyros floated above the moon, fighting the Titans. His body flickered. His power changed. Sarah watched the battle, her heart heavy. "Who is that?" she whispered. Jace answered quietly, "The true weapon." The secret they feared. Nero screamed as the Titans closed in. His body shattered and reformed. He grew larger. His light burned brighter. Suddenly, the battlefield went silent. The Titans stopped. Nero stood tall. A voice came from the shadows of space. You have awakened the darkness. Now face it. From the hidden chamber on the Council's world, the dark creature rose. Its power was cold and deep. It was the darkness behind the war. The forgotten god. Nairos looked toward the stars, and the galaxy held its breath. The stars seemed to hold their breath. The battlefield above the moon fell silent. Nairos and the Titans stopped fighting. All eyes turned to the darkness rising from the Council's secret chamber. The creature stepped forward. It was tall, taller than any Titan. Its skin was black as the void. Its eyes burned white-hot, empty but full of terrible power. Its voice echoed in every mind. You have called me back. Now I return to finish what was begun. Neros watched. He knew this creature. He had fought it before, long ago, but he never expected it to return like this. You are the shadow, Nero said, voice low. The one who betrayed us all. The creature smiled. Not a happy smile. A cold, cruel smile. Yes, Nairos, I was once your ally. Your strength, your balance, but they betrayed me. Locked me away in darkness. The shadow raised its hand. A wave of energy crashed over the battlefield. The Titans stumbled. Nairos faltered. Sarah watched from Earth, her heart pounding. And why Ross? Be careful. She whispered into the cum. Jace gritted his teeth. If he falls now, we lose everything. The shadow laughed. Its voice was cold thunder. You were made to fight me, Nairos, but now you will join me in the darkness. Nairos stepped forward. His body began to change. The glowing symbols moved faster, brighter. His skin shifted from starlight to solid energy. He was becoming something new. Something final. The Titans roared, regaining strength. The battle resumed. Blasts of power tore the sky. But Nairos was different now. He moved faster, stronger. His light was blinding. Sarah and Jace watched the battle unfold on their screens. Is that his final form? Sarah asked. Jace nodded slowly. He's unlocking all of his power, but it might cost him. Back in the battle, the shadow and Nairos clashed. Their powers collided like exploding suns. The shockwave knocked the Titans off balance. The battlefield lit with colors no human eye had seen before. Nairos's voice echoed. I am no longer your weapon. I am my own will. The shadow sneered. You are still a slave to the past. Nairos laughed, a sound full of fury and freedom. Then suddenly, Nairos stopped. His body shimmered and cracked. From within, a dark energy burst out. The shadow smirked. Now you show your true form. But Nairos shook his head. This is not the end. The dark energy became light. It formed a shining armor around Nairos. His eyes burned bright white. He had become the final guardian. The Titans looked on, fear in their eyes. The shadow growled. Impossible. Nairos raised his hands. A wave of power swept the battlefield. The Titans fell to their knees. The shadow screamed. Then Nairos spoke. This war is over. Leave now, or be erased. The Titans and the shadow retreated into space. Earth was safe. For now, back on Earth, Sarah and Jace breathed deeply. We did it, Sarah said. Jace nodded. But the war is far from over. Nairos floated above the Earth, shining like a star. He looked down on the planet he had sworn to protect. He whispered, I am not just a weapon. I am its guardian. The galaxy watched and waited. The war was over, but the price had been paid. Nairos had become more than anyone expected, and the true battle was still to come. The stars burned brighter than ever before. Ships from across the galaxy floated above Earth's orbit, silent, watching, waiting. Every species, every empire, every forgotten race had their eyes locked on the blue planet, because something terrible was coming, something older than the stars, something even the shadow feared. And now, Earth had only one protector. Left on Y Ross. He hovered high above the clouds. His body glowed with golden light, but that light was flickering. He was wounded, weak, alone, yet still. He did not fall. Sarah stared at the sky from Earth's surface. Her heart pounded. He can't fight alone again, she whispered. Jace stood beside her. If he falls, Earth falls with him. In space, the shadow returned. But this time, it wasn't alone. Thousands of dark ships followed behind it. Titans, reborn in black armor. Creatures twisted by void energy. And something worse. A living storm. A black hole in the shape of a beast. It had no name. Even the strongest alien empires had only called it the Endbringer. The sky cracked open. A loud boom echoed across Earth. Moon trembled. Nairo stood firm, but even he was silent. The shadow's voice echoed, "This is your last chance. Submit or be erased from history." Nairos clenched his fists. "Earth will never kneel. We are not afraid." The shadow laughed. "You say we? But you are alone." Just then, a voice replied from Earth. It was Sarah. Her message, sent through every channel, echoed to every ship. "He's not alone. We stand with him, all of us." Jace added, "You wanted to scare us, but humans don't break. We fight." Across the planet, human military systems went online. Old war satellites powered up. Deep in bunkers. Super weapons activated. And from the ocean, something rose. It was not made by NY Ross. It was made by humans. It was called Project Atlas. A machine. Taller than mountains. Made in secret. Hidden for years. Ready for only one moment. Nairos looked back, surprised. "You built this without me?" Sarah replied through coms. "You protected us. Now it's our turn." The battle began. The Shadow's fleet attacked. Nairos moved like lightning, slashing through ships with his light. Atlas joined the fight, smashing enemies with metal fists. Missiles screamed, lasers cut the dark. But still, the Endbringer came closer. Every blast only fed it. It grew larger, darker, stronger. One by one, Earth's defenses were destroyed. Atlas took damage. Nairos fell to his knees, gasping. Sarah screamed into her mic, "Nairos, get up." He didn't move. The shadow laughed again. "Even gods fall, child." But then, a light rose from Earth. Not from machines. From people. Billions of humans, all thinking of one thing. Hope. Their energy flowed through satellites, through Nairos, through Atlas. Their will became power. Nairos stood again, his eyes glowing. He spoke, not with voice, but with soul. "You asked why they fear us. It's not because of our strength. It's because of our choice. We choose to fight, even when all hope is lost." He charged toward the Endbringer. As followed. Together they reached the center of the storm. The shadow screamed, "No!" But it was too late. Nairos opened his chest. Inside was a core white like a star. It had one function. Left. Self-destruction. He looked to Earth one last time. "Protect them." And he exploded. A white light filled the sky. The Endbringer vanished. The shadow screamed. The Titans burned. And then, silence. Sarah fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. "He's gone." "No," she said. "He became part of us." Days passed. Earth was saved. Aliens retreated. The council disbanded. The Titan project was over. The people did not forget. Statues were built in every country, not of kings, not of soldiers, but of one name. Ny Ross. And years later, a boy stood at the edge of a crater deep in the forest. He reached down and pulled out a glowing shard of light. Nairos's voice echoed again, softly, "One more touch, and I'll show you why they fear us."